Invisible Tonight anniversary.
Yay! Happy 7 years, Invisible Tonight. Bow.
Okay, I guess I got to make YouTube live.
Let's make YouTube live. Let's do this. I did not remember to go get my CD collection, so about 2 minutes before we went live, I went and grabbed my big ass CD collection from my basement. It's definitely full of spiders. It's definitely not sealed. Like, it's been in my basement like this. Like, this bin does not, I need a better bin. And Gen Z is probably like, what are those? This is an entire box just full of jewel cases of CDs because I like the artwork.
So you kept the whole case and everything.
A lot of them are missing artwork because in college I used to take the CD thing out, like the little square, and I would like hang them in my bedroom, and then I would hang them in like if it had cool artwork on the inside, I would hang it in my house or my apartment or whatever. So some of them are just like, look what's right on top too.
Look at that. What a coincidence.
What? Invisible Tonight. I'm surprised it's in here. I love this album artwork. We need to celebrate this in a minute later in the stream. We just need to celebrate the album. But like, see, this is just a jacket. Like, there's no CD. And there's, like, random pictures? What
the hell? Real quick.
Ooh.
While you're kind of getting that together.
My favorite album of all time.
The Discord now.
The Ugly Organ, cursive. I got it for 92 cents because it's very scratched. Ah, this is so good. 92 cents for my favorite CD that I can listen to whenever I want to on Apple Music. So, but love the artwork. Hello to everyone who's tuned in so far. Let us know where you're watching from and how you are. Let us know your favorite CD that you're still hanging on to. This is my beloved Ugly Organ artwork by Cursive. They have this long pull-out thing in their jacket, so I always hang that up wherever I live. Actually, I don't have it hanging. I probably should hang that up somewhere in my apartment today for memory's sake. See, here's one with no cover. The Sounds. This is a good effing record.
I love The Sounds.
The Sounds, Living in America, so good.
They are at one of those festivals this summer.
You know what's great about going through this box? Look at this. Hammer No More the Fingers, Looking for Bruce. I got all these local CDs from these great local bands that we've played with over the years, or that I played with years ago. Remember Born Empty? I have their CD.
Yes.
Born Empty. Shout out to the guys, Seth and the guys down in Nashville. There's not even a CD in here. I know.
Pretty sure the guy who did my first tattoo was in Born Empty as well. I'm not sure.
Probably.
No, maybe it was a different St. Pete band. Sorry, I'm alerting the Discord members.
Oh my goodness, you guys. There's DVDs in here too.
Yeah, so I didn't keep the cases because after moving so much, I was just like, it's so much to keep. So I have the binders, and I would keep the art and slide it in the sleeve, and then put the CD in front of the artwork. But
in your binder. In the binder.
Yeah. But before we get all of that, do you want to catch us up on how your week's been since last stream?
Well, hey guys. Hey Arthur. Hi William. Hey Craig. William said hi and then gotta go. Bye. Derper says, damn no, Josh. Joshy couldn't make it today. I couldn't make it last night. So instead of the Wednesday night stream, we're doing a little earlier. We're doing it on Thursdays, testing the water, see if we get some more viewers on Thursday and an earlier time, because we know you guys are all over the place as far as time zones are concerned. You know, what's going new with me? We got Jordan's brakes fixed, and yeah, I got a pedicure today. So that's pretty much what's going on. And we've started our thank you cards for our wedding. We've done like 6.
6.
Dude, I don't know. It's a
Like, are you
whole
going all
process.
out, or did
Yeah.
it, or is it just 6 of like thanks for attending?
No, like everyone has to be like personal. Like like everyone, I don't know, man. It was yeah, we started. We'll say we have them all laid out. We have the list of people. Um and yeah, I'm a little embarrassed that I've only done 6, but I'm in the the right mindset to get the rest done.
Well, Summer called you out for being such a wild
I
child. It was just
know.
such a crazy, crazy week, breaks and thank you cards. Pedicures. Well, I mean, you got to have some me time,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Self care. Um,
And Arthur said happy 7th birthday to Invisible tonight. We are celebrating that tonight, folks. I didn't even realize it until earlier today when it came up in my Facebook memories. And then I was like, is this real? And I went on Apple Music and it was like, yep, June 24th, 2014.
well, isn't that nice how it worked out? So yeah, all of you in the chat, throw up your favorite songs from that album. Let us know what the standouts are for you. If there's any tracks that you're still jamming 7 years later. Uh, yeah, that's our only full length album. We have a lot of EPs. We have
A
a
lot of
lot of
singles.
singles, um, which I mean makes sense in the musical climate today. Maybe we were just ahead of our time. We just knew that eventually streaming was going to be key and nobody would care about full length albums. So we're like, let's just do EPs and singles.
Chicky. Look at.
And thanks, Laura, for staying up so late to hang out with us. Um, while TJ is petting her cat, I will let you know how my week has gone. It's mostly been work, but over the weekend I made a little trip up to Chattanooga.
The Nuge.
Yeah, to help a friend move, but I didn't really have to move anything because he was already moved in. But I was just gonna check out his new place, and we just kind of basically spent the whole day restaurant hopping, just having a beer here and there at different restaurants till late at night, and stayed over on his terrible couch. Got no sleep because it's like was falling apart, and I felt like I was sleeping in a V shape on
Oh,
a
wow.
terrible pillow.
Way to put your friend on blast.
Oh,
For
I mean, I
having a
didn't name him,
horrible,
but Tommy knows who he is, and
having a
he knows how
shitty
shitty that
couch.
couch is.
Time for a new couch.
But it was nice because on the way home, uh, so on the way home it was early and it's a 2 hour drive, and I was like, I need some Starbucks. Because I didn't have my new addiction with me. My new addiction is this Coca-Cola coffee stuff. It's like Coke with dark black coffee in it.
Sounds gross.
It's only 70 calories. It is fantastic. It's like it tastes like Coke. It's not super sweet, but then it's got like that coffee flavor on the back end, and it gives me good energy. But anyways, I didn't have that, so I was like, I'm gonna go to Starbucks. But it's super early in the morning. I look like a mess because I didn't sleep all night. I was like, I don't want to get out of the car. I just want to go through the drive-through. Well, I go Google Maps, whatever, Starbucks. So I'm going. Of course, it's some like place inside a mall. So I'm like, okay, I'll go to the next one. It's over by the aquarium. Of course, that's another one that's like in the downtown strip. I'm like, I don't want to park and get out of the car. So I zoom out and I'm like, search, and I find one that's like off of 24 on the way home. And I was like, okay, I'll go that way. Well, I start going that way to that one, and it was kind of off the beaten path, and it led me into Rock City and all the way up to Lookout Mountain.
Nice.
So I'm like driving on these like small little roads, just like going up this mountain, like hoping I'm going to get to the Starbucks. and I get all the way to the top, and the view was fantastic and it was beautiful. And so it was nice that I got to do that. But then I get to the top of the mountain. And of course, it's like a Starbucks in the touristy, like kind of area of Lookout Mountain where everybody parks and they go in and get their tickets. And so I had to get out of the car anyways. And I was just like, damn it. So got my Starbucks, but at least the detour gave me a nice view of nature. And so since then, we've just been working on music. TJ sent me some new tracks for the acoustic album and been listening to them, throwing in some sweet reverbs on there and checking them out.
Reverb on what part? The keyboards?
Yeah, the piano.
Oh, okay.
To give it a very dissonant kind of.
I was like, those are scratch vocals, so hopefully you're not.
Oh, I just muted those. Like I just ignored they even existed.
I mean, I sent you so you would know in case you wanted to add other parts like a guitar or anything like that. But it's fine. They don't even sound that bad. Honestly, we could use them. I'm that good. All right.
Right. There's no need for auto-tune. I was gonna say on the day drinking adventure, I was gonna talk about those like random restaurant drinks, but that can play into one of our Patreon questions that we have later in the show, so I'll save it for that. So anyways, take it away, host.
We've got a lot of great comments coming in. If you guys are just tuning in and just dropping in, we're celebrating the 7th birthday of our debut album, Invisible Tonight. And, you know, it wouldn't be... The most nearly dead's thing about this is that none of us even realized it today until we were checking Facebook and it popped up on the memory. So I think that's really that just says a lot about us. I'm sure there's been a lot of other milestones, like the 5-year anniversary or the 1-year anniversary. We don't really pay attention to that stuff, when music gets released. But it is pretty cool that it's 7 years old, especially today on this day, because we are working on a new album. Love seeing your guys' comments here with your favorite songs from the album. I just want to say hey to Laura on YouTube from the Netherlands. Almost midnight there. Let's see. Summer says, I said Change Over You Got Me and Never Look Back. That's a lot. That's half the album is her favorite. I love it. Let's see. Fact and Friction is not on this album, but that's a great song.
We're glad you like it.
You know, if you think Invisible Tonight's old, how old do you think our debut EP is? Our self-titled, that was from 2012, right? 2011.
It's
actually
10 years.
So I want to start talking about this because we have been a band for 10 years. It's been, roughly, the same people for most of the time. Everyone goes through member changes in that. But especially me and Steve, the core of the band, we've been writing and doing this together for 10 plus years. So it's pretty cool that everyone is still together and we're still making music. We have you guys, the fans, to thank for it. You guys still are loving this album, loving all the songs on it. Don't care that it's 10 years old. I'm the same way. I listen to music that I listened to years and years ago. It's a little bit different for us to kind of go through memory lane because we lived this album. We lived the making of it and the performing of these songs on tour hundreds of times. So it's pretty fun to kind of reflect back on that. And we have some really good memories. I just don't even know. I definitely want to talk a little bit about the making of the CD and stuff like that, if that's okay with you.
Are you asking me?
Steve?
Yeah.
It's not on the outline. It's not on the outline. I don't know if we want to talk about that first or if we want to talk about that after we talk about our mixed CDs.
Let's just go for it. We're already in it. It's honestly not on the outline because, like you said, we woke up this morning not even knowing.
Oh, I know.
It kind of just
and then I was like, oh, we're doing a podcast thing tonight. We should talk about the album being 7 years old today. I'm like, and as I'm sitting in the salon chair, Like that's how I was preparing for today.
Just thinking it over, reminiscing.
I'm not gonna lie, like I it's nice to be able to get like a pedicure. I got like a cheap pedicure, you know, nothing fancy, and oh, mom, my cat just meowed. What's happening? All right. Anyway, cut that out of the podcast recording. It's
Uh,
just it kind of
it
forces you to
can't be done.
meditate because you can't really like be on your phone. You know what I mean? You get the like massage chair going. Anyway,
Right.
so this popped up on my news feed. I'm in the salon chair and I'm just like, this is cool. So I'm like sharing it to everything. And I'm just like, man. And I'm really happy that I went down to grab my CD collection because this was the first thing on the top of the pile. It's our CD. Like, we made a CD. Like, remember that feeling when we first were just like, wow, like, this is a big accomplishment as like a band, as just a human to be like, I put my thoughts down. We put all of our best music on this and we made a record, and then we physically printed it in these cool hot pink CDs. People still love it. Um, and you know, just painstakingly doing like every little detail. Even on the inside, we have. Let me get this out of here. Jesus, I don't want to break it. You know what's even cuter? It kind of matches my nails too. Well, pink is obviously like the theme. On the inside of it, do you remember? Because we did a Kickstarter. So there's a bunch of people in here. Oh, wait, no. Thank you to the zombies all around the world.
I know for sure the survival guide had a list of.
Survival Guide had a list of people on it. This one doesn't have a list of people. It has, you know, JK and Rob in it. And then, like, we would also like to thank the following organizations who have played a big part in our success: Journeys, Oakley, Hot Topic, Warp Tour. Like, why did we put all that shit in there? Why? BMI, CSAC, Alt Press, Absolute Punk. Like,
I don't know, because that's a thing, I guess, in albums. You put shout outs and.
like the gear that we use and things like that. I mean, I guess we thought we were like hot shit, being like, we've been
First of
in.
all, I want to thank God, and then JoJo and Ray Ray, who helped me
I
get
love
out.
this though. Like, you know, all these little detail. I remember like finding these like black and white like ladies. If you guys and like picking the font and like finding all that, we hired like a designer. Now I just do everything for us because I learned a lot about it over the years. Um it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. I just love the way that it looks. This is the inside. I still love it. You know, Rob was right. You know, Rob was like, this is important. This is your debut album. This is going to go down in history. Like, you need to make sure like the packaging is amazing. Like, don't shortchange yourself. Like, don't, you know, not hire an artist and don't like, not, you know, and he was fucking right, man. Cause I still love it to this day.
Yeah.
What is your initial emotion, Steve, about like, I mean, I know what it was because you texted me, but what was your initial emotion when you learned that it was 7 years old today?
Oh, when I was just like, damn, we old.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, yeah, it just, time really flies. It honestly,
Yeah.
and the self-titled EP being 10 years old this year, it doesn't feel like that long. And so much has happened in that time too. Like, thinking, I mean, it's just a weird feeling to like 10 years is a long time, but when I think about like when we met and we all first moved up to Nashville, it doesn't feel like 10 years ago. It feels like just yesterday. But then when I think of this time frame, it's like we all moved up here. We moved to several different cities between now and then. Like, you moved to Milwaukee for a while, then out to Rhode Island. Like, I've been in 4 or 5 different areas in Nashville. We've done both those albums. We've done multiple tours. We bought an RV and sold it. Like, we got Blanca. We got the trailer.
Oh
so much
man,
has happened. And
Band Van Lance Cunningham. That was pre Invisible Tonight. He didn't make it through the first tour.
I mean,
That was the first vehicle though, Lance Cunningham, and then we got Creamy Beige. That was Warped
yeah.
Tour, and that was before this. That was right. That was 2012. I just anyway.
I mean, we were schlepping stuff around in your van for a while. We did the photo shoot, and yeah,
I mean
I
we've.
mean, the band has lasted longer than my relationship. Like the band is literally the longest relationship in my life. I
Well,
mean,
besides like your
outside of
friendships
like
and
outside
family.
of Tommy and Ricky, who
Yeah,
like my friends I've known for like 20 plus years, but yeah, I would say that like outside of them,
yeah.
I've been with the band longer than I've been with friends or any relationship I've ever had, and so it's kind of weird, It's it's like the band is definitely family and like a part of my life. It's like blood. It's
Yeah.
part of my blood now.
I think it's Laura or Lara says it's couldn't believe it's 7 years old when I'm listening to it. I think that's another testament to um, what we put into it. Like, JK and everybody, just the quality that you put into your recordings and like the care that we put into making this record. And like, I think we were all a little bit like scared and hesitant to be like, this is so much, money. We're independent. We've always been. Um, well, actually, no, this was after. This was after the standby shit, right?
Yeah, that was kind of like the,
That
well,
when
screw you, we're gonna do
it's
the album anyways.
yeah, we had to like yeah. So a lot of the songs I think are about that experience. I wrote like kind of a little mini blog post in my Patreon about like how I was feeling about just like lyrically like where we were at, but I kind of forget that we went through that whole mess with Standby. That was a long time ago. That I guess that would have been like 8 years ago now, because we had just started getting trajectory as a new band, and then this label comes and like promises the world, and then like it just derailed us entirely in a way and held us up a little bit, but that was kind of our way. And then the revenge of the Nearly Deads, like that was also our way of just like, we're still here, man. Like everything that we do is in defiance of like a wealth of people who are like, you can't do this, and this isn't like a real like way of life, or this isn't, I don't know what's wrong with this band. What are they they don't know what they're doing. What's the deal with these guys? Yeah, I don't know. I'm rambling on a little bit, but I think the point I was trying to make is that Rob was right and JK was right, because here we are all these years later. We have these incredible fans still listen to this music on the daily. Some people do, and it doesn't, timeless music was always what we were going for. So
Right.
I know it's only
And
been 7 years. It's not like we're like, oh, we're timeless. We're like going down in history. Like we know we're not like fucking Elvis or some shit. But I don't know. I just think it really paid off what we put into this. Because the quality still stands up today. The CD itself
yeah, and I think the whole
looks
process
great.
changed us as
Yeah.
artists as well, because like you said, with Jake, working with JK, um, I can't be more grateful, because not only did it make the record sound good, but it changed me as an artist and as like a composer and everything, because he taught me how to like think of things like layers and how certain sounds have impact and where to add stuff and all the production behind it that I never thought about before, because we just want to be grungy and raw. But there's also, which is fine, but there is this certain level of polish and production that just takes your sound to the next level, and what helps it become timeless. And so now when I'm doing stuff on my own, I find myself oftentimes, you know, doing these little tricks and things in Pro Tools, or when I'm writing, thinking about certain things that I'm like, oh yeah, that's something that I learned in the studio working on Invisible Tonight, or working
Yeah.
on the first EP with JK.
Yeah, same. I mean, I love being in the studio. It's kind of one of my favorite things to do because I just love singing so much. But it completely changed. Like being in this band completely changed like the way that I sang as a performer. I came into this and our first EP, classically trained, composition degree, like little girl from school with like literally like notes of harmonies. Like I would have like written notation for harmonies, and JK was just like, "What is this? Like, what are you doing?" Like, "Oh, you're really prepared," but he's like, it kind of like you. And at the time, I was like, "I know everything. I'm educated. Like, this is my way." And I think all of us just like loosened up a lot because we had to learn to let go of like preconceived notions of like what we wanted things to sound like, let other people in, let other people help us, and like follow their advice because they were always leading us in the right direction, and not be so stubborn. And that's a testament to moving to Nashville and being in that environment. I don't think any of that, none of this ever would have resulted if we hadn't have, met JK and met Darling Parade and the friends that we made in Nashville when we all first moved there. Everyone just embraced us with open arms, embraced our talent and what we were doing. And I don't know. I'm really proud of this album. I'm proud of everything that we've done. I love hearing, when we ask what everyone's favorite songs are. I asked online today, and it's almost like every single song gets a mention as like, this is my favorite song off the album. Even, somebody mentioned Point of No Return or, and I'm like, Brave. When's the last time we played Brave? Like that was like our big single, with
Yeah, for the
Standby.
survival guide.
Yeah. And
Yeah, and that's
we don't really think about these songs a lot because we're writing a new album, and we think a lot about Evil Ways or Never Look Back, Fact and Friction, because those are like our top performing songs online. But there's some great songs on here that I'm really proud of that it's just like we don't really think about them that often. Like Changeover. Like I haven't thought about Changeover in like years.
yeah, I love when the Warped Tour videos pop up on um, YouTube, and one of them is Changeover. But that was we were performing Changeover before we recorded it, so it was like back when we had first written it and had this really long intro and just like all these parts, and Brandon was in the band, and I was like, this sounds so much different than how it ended up sounding on the album. So
Yeah.
it's kind of funny to just hear that. But that's something that like you mentioning that, almost every song gets mentioned. uh I always take pride in that, because a big thing for me as an artist is I don't want to like rehash, and I don't want to sound generic. Whenever I approach a song or we're working on something, I want it to be its own thing. And I never wanted to be that artist like, this isn't necessarily a cut, because everybody likes what they like and they do what they do. But, there's bands that I listen to where they clearly have a formula, and every song follows that formula or that sound. And so when it's written that way, everybody's drawn to the big singles that get pushed because they have the most memorable hook or whatever, but everything else sort of gets lost because there's nothing special about it to make it stand out. It's just
Right.
like, okay, it's the same thing, just not as good as the single. And so, yeah, we do have our songs that more people have connected to clearly, and they get more love than something like, like My Evil Ways, is one of the ones that really took off, and there's millions of streams. And then you have something like As Good as It Gets, which doesn't have as much. Maybe it's because it's um, a slower, more ballad song, and people tend to go towards the anthems. But those two songs sound vastly different. You can't
Right.
put them next to each other and say, oh, this is, they just rehashed or whatever, and so the impact's different. And because of that, I think each individual song speaks to a different demographic, or speaks to people differently. And so that's why when you pose a question like that, it's not everybody saying the same three or four songs. There's almost
Yeah.
every song gets at least one shout out, which which I like.
And
And
I don't think there's ever been a moment where one of us has brought a song to the table and been like, that's not a nearly dead song. We've always tried to be like, we can make this work, you know? Like there's never been a moment where we're like, oh, a strong ballad that I wrote on piano, like we can't rock this up a little bit and make it a nearly dead song. There's never been a moment where we're just like, I don't, you know what I mean? I think that is
right.
why all the songs are so different, because we have different influences as a band and several different many per person. So I don't know, like, you know, if I want something that's a little bit more grungy or poppy one song to the next, like I like that we can explore that, and like not having a label and not have anybody to like toe the line on that means we have the complete creative freedom, which is really nice because when you're on a label, they have strong opinions about everything that you do, and your art is kind of like squashed. And then it like fucks with you for years to come, because then you are worried about selling records instead of just you know, creating your art, which is what got you noticed by them in the first place. Was that moment when you were like in the garage writing Never Look Back or whatever. Like those moments of magic kind of get lost for me, because you start needing to like something to like be successful.
Right. And I don't want to give people the impression that we're anti-label or anything like that. I mean,
No.
they have their place and
Yeah.
their purpose, and the reality is what we do for creativity's sake, but it's also a business, and we also have to treat it that way at times. And so there is a benefit to having somebody be like, well,
So
business
in
wise, this is more
so
marketable,
in three
but
years, when this turns 10, we'll make a hot pink vinyl. That's a
sounds good.
business decision. Actually, that would
I'm
be
down.
freaking badass. I don't know why we never did that. I wanted to do colored vinyl for the Revenge EP so bad, and everyone was like, absolutely not. It's way too expensive. So,
Yeah, it was like an extra to print as many.
thousands and thousands of dollars to
Yeah, it would have
print
been
like
like
20.
five extra grand just to make them
Yeah,
green.
yeah. But that's
And we
why
didn't even sell all of them.
we
I
still
still
have
got
a
a couple,
million. We still have a
not a
million.
million. We sold most of them, but I still got a couple cases of vinyl, which, you know, maybe
Yeah.
that will be part of the Kickstarter giveaways.
People love vinyl. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, tons of. We got plenty. But the thing is, like, we just haven't toured. When we go on tour, we sell vinyl. And that's when we sold all of them. So, like, 2 years ago, we stopped playing shows. Like, we haven't even played a show in 2 years because 2020 didn't count. Nobody was doing anything this year. And now it's like everyone's starting to go out and play shows again. And I'm just like itching, and it just like sucks. Like, we're not all around each other. And,
Right.
you know, who knows? Maybe it won't be like that forever, but.
I will go back and correct you. The song I shared with you guys in our group text, that was a that was the one example of this is not a nearly dead song.
Oh, the one that the oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that got
Well,
brought to the table. So that would be the
um
one moment that it wasn't a nearly dead song.
okay, so here's the thing. I was thinking of that too, because I was like, actually I have said that, but it wasn't. It was only after you sent me the lyrics that you had, and I was just like, I can't sing this. I don't feel that in my heart. We do collaborate on lyrics. On Invisible Tonight, there was a few songs, you know, me and you and JK all kind of had a hand in writing. Um, I guess
Never
that
look back.
Never Look Back. Yeah, maybe that's the only one. I think Brave, Invisible Tonight,
Revenge.
Brave, Point of No Return. It's in the album anyway, which ones we wrote. But like it'll be like a word here or there, or and Never Look Back. Like I remember that you wrote primarily like the choruses, and I kind of like adapted a lot, and then JK helped with everything. Everyone just kind of helps collaborate and bring it together, and that's what like one of the best parts of music is collaborating. It's really hard to create music in a vacuum. Like I really don't recommend it. You've got to get feedback, and you've got to have honest feedback. Somebody to tell you that line's crap, that is not interesting, or I mean, You probably want to say it nicer than that, but like we're at the point where we've been in a band for 10 years now. If the line sucks, the line sucks, you know.
Right.
Or that riff is like same, or Never Look Back and Evil Ways are the same song and nobody realized it. But isn't that like didn't Nirvana do that a lot too? They're like, oh shit, they're like the same chords, but no one would ever know, and they're one of the most successful bands of all time. So
Well, yeah,
sometimes
I mean, there's
you
only
get
so
in.
many chords on
Yeah.
a guitar, so many progressions. So
Mm.
it's like, yeah, it's the same. I mean, the progressions are in the same key is the thing,
Yeah,
but it's not like
the
they're
same
played
song.
in the same
Yeah.
order. The riffs are so different and
Yeah.
the lyrics are
They're
different
just in
that
the
it,
same key.
yeah, they don't sound anything alike, but yeah, they're in the same exact key.
Yeah. I think so. Somebody had asked, so what would what would your favorite song off of this record be? So we have,
Um,
I said Invisible Tonight, Changeover, Paper Doll, Easy Way Out, In the Morning, Point of No Return, You Got Me, Brave, Our Last Adventure, and Never Look Back. Rianne.
I would say I have two favorites.
Oh man, my neighbor just decided to mow the lawn. Sorry, folks. All right.
I can't really hear it,
Okay,
so
good.
it's fine.
All right, good.
I would say my two favorites are In the Morning and Easy Way Out.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Probably just because I guess they're the closest to who I am as an artist today, and they're kind of the closest to where we were headed as
Like
far as like,
musically.
yeah, like Revenge is heavier
Yeah.
for sure, especially using baritone guitars. And Easy Way Out and In the Morning, they don't have um, the guitar tones aren't nearly as heavy as Revenge, but the production behind those songs and the tone of them are more in that direction, which I think is more me. And I really love the piano and In the Morning, and just I just think it's an excellent song front to back. I don't think it gets the attention it deserves.
Well, there you have it, folks.
Same with As Good as It Gets. I think that's just one of those that I'm just like,
I
this is
don't
a
think
fantastic
any of our
ballad.
songs, I don't think any of our songs get the attention they deserve, man. We need that promotional budget so people can
Right.
hear us. My favorite song is Paper Doll. Um, and I'm really proud of the lyrics in that one, and I think that's why, like, out of all these songs, it just stands out to me. I did a handwritten lyric for one of my Patreons, and I chose to do Paper Doll this month for whatever reason. And I think it's ironic that it's like, oh, it's like this month was the anniversary. It was released on June 24th, so I think that kind of makes sense. And I was like, this is my favorite. Like, my lyrics, it describes who I was as a person so concisely, and it's just like I always have, it's like the standard to which I've always held myself up to. And the same
Mm-hmm.
thing with I Said, lyrically, it's a song that lyrically I'm very proud of, and it's like that is my threshold of like, if I can express myself that perfectly in every song, then I'm doing something right. And it's really difficult for me to do that sometimes. And I definitely, compare myself to myself and try to up myself, and never ever think my lyrics are good. And so when I do get a good line and a good something I'm super proud of, then I'm like, yeah, I don't know, I love Paper Doll. It was how I felt too, especially going through the record stuff, and with the label and people trying to tell you what to do and all of that, just really expressed exactly how I was feeling back then. And here,
Do
I
you
know sometimes I still feel that way, like we're still here waiting for the big break, man. We're waiting for people to hear our music and for us to, continue to do this and make more of a living doing it, full time, playing more gigs, bigger shows, more people coming out. We're still here trying to do that.
right? Here might be a fun question. Um, so we talked about favorite tracks on the album. Was there anything on the album that you kind of like look back on and you're like,
Meh.
ooh, I don't know, like I would have done that differently, or that's not necessarily my favorite?
No, but I can tell you have one.
I
I
mean,
don't want
there's
people to go and be like, okay, what's your least favorite song on it?
well, it's not necessarily a bash. It's just, I mean, there's in most things in our lives, there's things, moments where we did something
I
at one point that we were really stoked about, or you've even dated people that you're like, oh, you're so head over heels, and then like decades you look back and you're just like, oh, why did I date them? It's just like, is that kind of feeling like. And so for me, my examples would be like, as far as a songwriter, i I would say Invisible Tonight, the title track, and The Point of No Return are two songs that there's like elements in those that I like, but I think I tried to go too complicated with the riffs or the structure. And so me as an artist now, looking back at the album, those are songs that I'm like, I liked where I was going with that, but I would have approached it differently now. I would have tightened it up. I would have maybe done some things a little different structurally, or I would have smoothed out the rough edges, basically. Um, and I think it's just because I'm different as an artist now than I was then. And, in that time, in the moment, you're just trying to be experimental. You're just throwing stuff out there, and hindsight, right?
yeah. I remember Point of No Return. I was like super like cramming it down your guys' throat, being like, this is gonna be like the anthem. And do you remember that? Somebody in the band
Well,
really
yeah,
hated
we
it.
were kind of going for that, like,
Was Corey
um,
still in the band?
offspring sort of.
I mean, I love the Offspring. So for anyone who's tuning in and out, just listening, we're celebrating 7 years of our album Invisible Tonight. Thank you guys for listening to us for all these years. Can't believe our little baby is 7 today. Released June 24th, 2014. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the album, memory laning, all of that. My influences are, I've always been more punk, and I'm always trying to bring more punk and more grit and more dirtiness into the band. Like, just the music sometimes to me has always been too polished to where I'm just like, and sometimes, like, so when you take that like offspringy sound and like polish it up, it doesn't always translate, and it lacks energy a lot of the times, especially when it's like a super compressed, clean, crisp vocal and the whole 9 yards. So I feel like that song for me didn't necessarily turn out the way that I envisioned it. I will say that. I love the song, but it's one of those ones that we don't really even play live that much. Like, it's not like
Well,
it's
and
not
I think it
everyone's
too. I
favorite
think it
song.
maybe suffered from, again, like, one
Overproduction.
thing that's, well, I wouldn't say overproduction. Where I was going to go is one thing that I love about the Nearly Deads is I think our sound is unique because we have such diverse influences
Yes.
that kind of play into each other. But I feel like that can also be a downfall, where I feel like that song, when I was talking about like restructuring, and I think that song played victim to having too many different influences, because like guitar riff wise, stuff that I was doing on it was very Mew inspired, so very like off rhythm picky stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which is a vastly different sound than Offspring, where the chorus, vocally, the chant, you're going for like an Offspring energy. And then I had even maybe some even Deftones. There was a lot of different influences being pulled into that song. So maybe it just, like, for me, in hindsight, I think it lacked a little bit of focus. See it, that Mew off rhythm,
It's cool.
and then the dreamy, picky guitars. This is where Offspring comes in.
And then the high harmony. Should know. I mean, it's a badass song. It holds up.
Yeah,
I
it's
stand
cool,
by
but
it.
you can see where it's like the chorus is vastly different than
Yeah.
the verses. It's almost different songs, but you
Yeah.
know,
It's a groove, man. It's a groove.
I like that it exists, and I like that we had the ability to just go for it and do it.
Yeah, that's part of the greatest part about being in a band is, and it's got me so excited to work on, or finally our second album. And I think Doug put it perfectly earlier in the chat. He said it was the 7-year itch to make a new album.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, Excellent.
We've been just through so much as a band. We've run the gambit, and even I'm like even thinking, oh, 7 years ago, it doesn't really seem like that long ago. And in the grand scheme of things, it's really not. Like bands, they always talk about the overnight success. People are not really overnight successes. So like we're still building towards something, I hope. And we're still I think the best is yet to come. It might seem like we're all waxing nostalgic and things like that. But I think honestly, we're just celebrating like something great that we've done in our life. And it gets me even more excited to do what's next because we've learned, we've changed, we've grown. The past year has been crazy. The world is in a crazy place right now. There's a lot of things going on, and a lot of things that I want to say and I want to sing about and talk about and we want to write about that aren't so self focused. Because when I first started writing, it was like it's like a cathartic thing, like lyrically, it's like I'm writing about me and my experience and my lens of the world, and a lot of the things almost like only make sense to me. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't know. I'm happy now. So gotta, gotta
Well,
write it.
no, don't do that
Don't
because
get
you
happy.
listen to all the bands that like come
I'm
back
losing
and
my
put out
edge.
a record years later, and they're all rich and successful. They have families, their kids, they're all happy, and then the album's just like blah because it's like they're missing all that angst and like drug addictions and poverty and all the things that the terrible relationships that inspired their music before.
Well, now I'm struggling because all my songs are like I'm getting so old and I have nothing left to say. No.
I think you kind of tipped us in a good transition here. You were talking about influences for the record, and I think that would be a perfect time to kind of go through our
Mix
CD
CDs.
booklets because that's physically a representation of our influences and who we listened to growing up. But let's swap the outline around a little bit. And
Okay.
before we get into that, let's go ahead and just get housekeeping out of the way now.
All right,
So
let's do it.
I'll let you go over, and then once we're done with that, talking about Patreon, we'll do our shout outs and we'll do the drawing for the pillow. Got the pillow here, so we'll do the drawing.
Pillow.
Then once we do all that, we'll get into our CD booklets and we'll wrap it up with our Patreon questions.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for watching and being a part of the stream. You guys know we do this and we take the recording, Steve edits it, and he makes a podcast out of it. Everything is 100% funded and supported by you guys, our fans, our friends, and our patrons. The link is on every stream. It's patreon.com/thenearlydeads if you want to support us, support our music, support the stream, just generally be an amazing human being. You can join for $1 a month. It means the world to us, and it helps us continue doing everything that we're doing. And yeah, we're so grateful because from the very beginning, we kind of realized, you know what? If you let your fans in on the fun, they'll come through for you. So thank you guys so much. Any of you guys that are out there that are part of our Patreon, my personal Patreon, the band's Patreon, or have just bought a CD, come to a show. Every little part of every little thing that you guys do helps support us. Telling your friends about us, getting one more view on YouTube, sharing our videos, sharing our music, it all makes a huge difference to us. So definitely, if you haven't checked that out, you get some exclusive stuff. You get you get to come up with some of the questions that we talk about on air and some of the topics. And especially, we're kind of back in the studio, so we post like some pretty exclusive stuff just to the Patreon. So if you want an even more intimate look into the world of the Nearly Deads, definitely think about joining and supporting. How was that, Steve?
Sounds great.
Was that good? Okay.
That was for our streamers. That's all getting cut out, and the podcast gets the pre-recorded commercials. But
unless you're a patron,
all of you hanging out with us get to have fun and listen to TJ riff.
Listen to it live.
Right.
I know I ramble.
Well, that's what podcasts are for. So yeah, she mentioned Patreon. So we also want to mention our super fantastic, awesome Patreon producers from the Night of the Living Producers and Dead Executive Producer tiers. We love all of our patrons, all of our fans, people who stream and watch our videos. To the people who are in the dollar tier and up, it all helps. But because this group digs deep and gives us a little extra support, we like to shout them out each stream. And those people this month is Paul, Craig, Derper, Doug Saxon, Ninja, Jesse, Yaroslav, Craig, John KNC, Patty, Bobby, and Bill Ford.
Thanks, guys.
So thank you very much. And another thing that these producers benefit from is a drawing every month where they get their names in a hat for some random exclusive prize, one of a kind. It's different every single month, and this month we've got the Punk Rock Kitty Cat throw pillow for your couch.
Yay!
It's super soft. It's made of the finest finest silks and textiles from overseas that we get imported, and it's made by 13-year-old children in a sweat. No, I don't know.
Dude, why would you say something like that?
No, this was a Vistaprint. So, but it's a very nice pillow and it's very soft. I've tested it out.
Steve slept on it
for a week.
So it has like Steve's scent and drool on it and hair. So if you wanted to make a voodoo doll, or do some black magic, you've got plenty of DNA.
Not really. I didn't sleep on it. But so I got all of I don't know, it just looks like a white box.
Okay. So right now we're going to do our drawing. Anybody who is in the Dead Executive tier.
Light is just okay, so you can see the names are in the box.
Names are in the box.
My AirPods box. They're here, they're folded up. There's no cheating.
The monthly drawing, and it's Dead Executive Producers and Night of the Living Producers. Those tiers have a drawing every month. So this is for June. So take it away, Steve.
I think I unfocused the camera or whatever. Nobody's here to see me anyways. All right.
Why is it so dark?
We need Josh here to drum roll. All right. So the pillow person is Paul Chiaffi.
Congratulations, Paul.
Did I say his name right?
I think it's Chiaffi.
Chiaffi? Paul Chiaffi?
Congratulations, Paul. If you're watching, congrats. If you're listening on the podcast, congratulations. And if you're not, we will email you later knowing that you won. If you guys want to join in on the drawing, make sure you sign up for the Patreon, and you got to be in one of the producer tiers to be eligible. And you get some really cool, super sweet stuff. The pillow may or may not be back for the Kickstarter at later in the year. So,
right. I've got some cool ideas for other prizes that may be in the future. They may. I don't know if we're going to hold off on Kickstarter or I mean, we
use them
can
for
do them for
executive
both, but
producer tiers.
I was thinking it might be fun for one of the months since it is the 7 year anniversary. They I found this thing where they make plaques, these like glass plaques that you can have the album artwork on, and there's like a code in it. Like when you scan the plaque, it plays the song from it links to Spotify and it plays the song.
That's
So you can
cool.
pick a song. So it might be cool to do something like that for Invisible Night. But another thing that I saw that we might put up on Kickstarter, we're spitballing them, but Xbox now has they relaunched their labs, the controller labs, where you customize your own Xbox controllers. So it might be
Oh.
cool to do some Nearly Dead's Xbox controllers.
There's a lot of things you can customize. You can customize vans, backpacks, like all kinds of stuff. So
You just got to keep checking in because who knows what wacky and zany thing we might do.
we're creative. We're creative people. Dude, I am like looking like white as a sheet, and you're like in a dark, sad room, like the girl from Beetlejuice.
It's not even that dark. What happened is I think trying to show the thing when I put it up here, the camera tried to focus on this.
Is the light on?
And so now,
is your like
it is
light on?
Yeah, you can see
Put
the
your
lights
face
on.
closer.
It just I think it unfocused because it was very bright earlier, and I don't know how to unfocus it.
This is what everyone watches for. Steve can't
Here,
figure
watch. I'm gonna like undo the camera.
You're in Fight Club
disappear.
over there, and I'm like in, I don't even know what movie is really bright. What movie is really bright? Like a Pixar Secret Life of Pets. And Steve's over there
Pixar
in Fight Club.
would work, right?
Steve's over there in Fight Club. I didn't know that you could turn your camera off like that. That's cool. All right. Cool.
I just
solo stream.
I didn't really turn it off. I just
So I do want to. So we're kind of been talking. Oh, much better. Look at that.
Yeah. See, it focused on the box and it like threw everything off. So we're good.
So I want to talk a little bit about our plans for the Kickstarter, because these are kind of our inner circle people, the people who are kind of watching every month. I mean, I know we're live, but I definitely want to let you guys know, we have kind of something special planned, because our debut album and our first, well, not our first video, but Never Look Back, the big video that everyone knows us from, is turning 10 this year, you guys. 10 years old. And we released it on Halloween. So this Halloween, we're going to most likely launch a Kickstarter and just celebrate 10 years of Nearly Deads, and saying, hey, we've been in the game for 10 years, help us be in for 10 more, help us make our next record. So that's kind of the plan that we have so far. So stay tuned for that. Prepare yourself. If you guys have any ideas of things that you might want us to include, it's going to be a pre-order for the new album. The new album won't come out until like next year, possibly early summer, but there'll be singles coming out along the way. And I think most people know with Kickstarter, it's kind of like a pre-order situation where you're helping us make it. So the making of the record kind of comes like after. But making records are definitely not a cheap endeavor, especially when you're an independent band. So we definitely love the opportunity to be funded by our fans. You guys rock. And stay tuned for that. Like, I can't believe a decade of Dead. So we have to come up with something cool wordplay. A decade of
Natty said nearly deadly decade.
Are we still nearly dead, or are we just all the way dead now? Hi, babe. A decade of decay, Jordan says. A decade. That's dumb. That's so dumb. It's not a decade.
And the album art is just Jordan's mustache. That's all.
Oh, come, baby, come here so everyone can appreciate your tribute to Jaws.
Freddie Mercury.
To Quint from Jaws. Unless you shaved your mutton chops.
Of course I didn't.
No, here he is, ladies and gentlemen. My husband, Jordan Stevens, aka Quint.
It's a good Quint.
I'm doing the wrong angle. Look at those chops.
He's got to show us all his scars, though. Yeah, to compare scars if you're going to be Clint.
Oh, man. For those of you who are just listening to the podcast, he has mutton chops and a full, thick mustache. And that's what's going on. We'll post a picture. If anyone
80s
cares.
porn star.
If anyone cares about my husband's facial hair. But yeah, see, so much has gone on in a decade. I'm married now. Like, this is crazy. Javi has a kid. Kevin's not in the band anymore. Neither is Corey.
Or Brandon.
Or Brandon.
Or,
look, there's not even a drummer on this.
Rick, we had Rick, and we had for a hot second. And
we should just, for the 10 year, we should just do
Keith.
like a little gravestones for everybody who's not in the band anymore. That's mean. That's actually kind of mean. People move on. That's fine. There's not even a drummer on this record. I think we hired one. It's me, Steve, Kevin, Javi. Did Josh play drums, but we just didn't put him on this record because we didn't know if he would be in the band?
Yeah, we had a studio guy do drums on it, but
I think we hired a drummer because we didn't have one because our drummer quit. I don't blame him. Everyone, see the thing, I was just watching like Amy Lee just did like a podcast or a stream or something, and she was like, you know, every album that Evanescence does, it's a different lineup. Like, they're not all the same people, and that's consistent with them. And she's like, and that's fine. It's like a relationship. People move on. You're not in one forever. Like, that's just how they operate. On the flip side, you have Hailstorm that's literally been the same four people for like as long as they've all been together. And it helps that, you know, brother and sister, things like that. They just have a really good core group of people that they've happened to find. Not every band is like that. But like I said, me and you have been here since the beginning, so.
Laura's trying to kick Josh out and take over drummer role.
Oh, okay. What, baby? Okay. I'm doing a live stream. I love you. We're going through our old CDs. Look at.
Oh, great. Now I got to cut all of this out.
Sorry. I love you. Bye.
No, it's fine. Okay, so the original topic, until we found out the 7 years, we had talked about topics last week with y'all on the stream, and one of them that we talked about was old mixed CDs in our CD collections. So TJ and I grabbed, she got her giant trunk from
my
the basement.
Oh!
And I got my, I was the booklets guy. So I had this one and then this gigantic thing that's, can you just appreciate that this is what we used to have in our cars? We'd have this somewhere in the car
underneath the passenger seat.
This thing's heavy. This like weighs like as much as 2 babies, and
as much as 2 babies. That's an odd.
It's easy. If we put these in the car, and when you wanted to listen to something different, you had to like reach over while you were driving, unzip it, and like swap out the CD. So I don't know. We're gonna go. I have no clue what's gonna be in here. So this is gonna get interesting. So that we don't have dead air and stuff for the podcast, we're gonna have to maybe just start spitfiring some of these out.
Well, I just found my copy of Avril Lavigne "Let Go," and I'm like, you want to feel old, and she's still kicking it. She's still in the game. And I was looking for the year on this, but you all know it was like 2009 or 2008. Why is there no year on this? It should say like copyright. It's probably just too small for me to read now. Oh, Avril Lavigne. Oh, and then I have the Bouncing Souls. I'm trying to find. Oh my God. I found this Hours from Jersey demo. This was a band that I was in, and I will be listening to this because this is hilarious. This is, wow. I found an old demo from a band I used to be in, and this was like way before I even met Steve and the guys. This is like Hours from Jersey.
Before Blondes Not Bombs.
Before Blondes Not Bombs, dude. This was is this? DVD. Home movies. Cool.
Well, if mine says anything about me, if this is not Steve, that the first... See, I gotta like hold this thing up on my shoulder because it's so heavy. But mine, the first 4 pages are just Smashing Pumpkins. So it's every Smashing Pumpkins album on here. And I even had, I got unreleased stuff. So this I had to get on eBay. It was the sequel to Machina that never got released. And then I have all these old demo tapes, cassette tapes, before they were a band that got turned into albums. And just like old pictures. And these are just old EPs and demos pre-Gish. So clearly I was a fan that I found all the stuff. We got a page of Foo Fighters here.
Those are just good classic albums. I don't even feel like that qualifies as like a blast from the past.
There's all Nirvana and Soundgarden.
Steve's so organized. Look at my bin of fucking music. And Steve has his like, they're probably fucking alphabetized.
Oh, they're not alphabetized, but I love to organize. I love to organize. DVDs, my DVDs, Blu-ray collections are also organized in genre and everything. But yeah, I guess I had the foresight even in high school to like, so this was Soundgarden, the next is Audioslave, because it's clearly Chris Cornell's in both bands, so I had to put them next to each other.
Right.
And then we got Queens of the Stone Age, The Offspring. Yeah, 2 pages of The Offspring here.
Nice.
Oh, here, look at all the Garbage records.
Oh, Garbage, and I see the Sounds right there too.
Yeah, and Hole.
So this is clearly the female-fronted section. And then we got Muse.
There's a lot of Muse there. Radiohead, The Cure. Here's the Placebo pages. Pages of Placebo.
Oh, there's a few cassettes in this bin. I haven't even...
A lot of Mew.
I haven't even dived in. Oh, look at this. Wow. Wow.
You have to tell us what they are. The audio listeners need to know.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, you're going through your thing. I'm waiting.
No, I'm just saying if you say, look at this, you got to tell us what this is.
I found gold. So I found the Hours from Jersey demo. I don't know. I found this. This is literally why I thought I would ever need to keep this. It's a CD. Okay, if y'all, you remember how we were talking about Napster and LimeWire? I have no idea what's on this CD. This is clearly a Maxell like CD that you would buy that looked cool that you would like burn. So we're gonna listen to that and later and see what's on there. And then we have the Memorex for use with Windows 98. The actual CD, like when software used to come with stuff. Like actual physical, I still have these. Like, why? These are completely obsolete. This is garbage.
How do you know? You don't know what's on there.
It's for Windows 98, dude. It's for the software. So the Memorex Express Kit was this thing that y'all probably know what it is. It's like a plastic thingy, and it comes with these stickers that you printed, and then you put the CD in it, and then you smashed it together. So it was a Photoshop sort of program that like made your artwork in like it showed you the template for a CD.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I had one of those. So I have like so stupid.
I had the print your own CD labels thing.
But look what I found. The Nearly Dead's Not Nearly Enough, the actual CD that we made.
Nice.
There is, y'all, a myspace.com/the Nearly Deads band and the Nearly Deads @gmail.com on it. Oh,
wow.
And I made this. I remember designing this on Discmaker, or somebody did, because the font is horrible. This is like, wow. There's no year on this either, but this was pre-everything. The Nearly Dead's Not Nearly Enough. What happens, safe to say, in the art of acting surprise? If you guys are patrons, you already had access to this, right? Certain tiers already had a download of this album. I have the actual album, and I have 2 copies. So This might
So
make a
Kickstarter will sign them, and that will be a prize on Kickstarter.
I mean, I can't give away both copies, but we can do one. I mean, you have to keep
Right.
one. Look at me keeping all this stuff. And I also found software in here from something called a Bloggy. I don't know. Oh yeah, the Bloggy.
Poor man's live journal.
Do you remember? No, do you remember a Bloggy? It's like a camera. It's like a it was like a portable video camera. When did I even have one of those? Okay, okay, and then this is a cassette that my dad gave me. On the band it says Chick Corea and Oscar Peterson, which is jazz, but inside it's Billy Joel the Bridge. And Billy Joel Stormfront. Look at that.
You don't share my organization needs.
I don't know. Well, clearly my father doesn't either, because I guarantee you he gave this to me that way. I mean, and it's like, it's written in pencil on there. Like, remember this? It's just...
Okay, so funny story. So I mentioned Ricky and Tommy, my oldest childhood friends, earlier. We used to all live together in Florida, and they knew how anal I was about keeping everything organized. And so they thought it was hilarious that because I had my DVDs all organized, they would go in and they would swap the disc and put them in different random cases and just shuffle around the movie disc out of the cases. And I would get so furious because I'd like go to watch Dumb and Dumber and I'd open it up and I'm like, what the hell? Why is Fight Club in the Dumb and Dumber thing? And then I'd open up Fight Club and it'd have a different movie in it. And so I'd have to go through and it was like a scavenger hunt of like, what did they swap?
It's just a pile of burned CDs. I also found a cassette tape that all it says on it is side 1. So, I mean, I need to find a cassette player clearly. Is this either me singing along to the radio or something? I have no idea what could possibly on this. Oh my God.
What we know is there's a side 2.
Demo 1197. 2007 demo? Oh my God. Teresa's first CD, it says. What? What's on here? That's my handwriting.
First CD? So like your first burned stuff, or you actually are singing?
It's not. No, this is going to be like actual music. It's going to be like, Jesus. Oh my God, I have to go. I thought it was so badass. This is a black CDR. How cool was I? I burned black CDs. No. This is great. Do you not have any burned CDs to show? Because this is show and tell time. This is a Napster freaking CD. With my little like signature on it, and a song called One More Chance that I definitely recorded in my bedroom on my Edirol UA5 and I don't know what recording software I would have used back then in college, but not Pro Tools or anything like that, not GarageBand because I only had a PC. Adobe? I don't know where. Maybe Cubase? Maybe because I went to college. I think I maybe had Cubase in college. Here's another Napster CD. Oh my God.
I forgot that Napster actually sold CDs that you could burn onto. Because I normally just had the CDRs or like Staples or like,
dude,
see like this.
I got the actual Napster CDs. This one actually has some that are burned, but they're not
mixes. So it's like that's Billy Town's first record, and it was just burned.
Oh, you just ripped it. That one. Yeah, I'm sure I have a couple of those. But this is like my music. This is like a CDR, 700 millibytes, you guys. That's the storage on this thing. 700 MB. You can't even put one wave on there. Fell somewhere, blame, can't control me. And the Star Spangled Banner. Clearly, this is me. This is my shitty music from 2004.
The music that I did back then, it's just on hard drives somewhere.
Oh, happy
I don't think it's
cursive.
on CDs. But you did try to call me out saying that
I burned my music so I could listen to myself in my car. Duh. How else would I know if it was good? This is a Sound of Animals Fighting CD, and it just loose in here with my shit. And this is a blank DVD-R. Anything could be on here.
Sounds of Animals Fighting. I remember that. Yeah, you were trying to call me out and saying my stuff in here was too good, like mainstream, whatever. But I don't think we went far enough to get.
I never called you out. I said, where are your burn CDs?
We didn't get far enough to get to my emo stage. Because here's where it starts. It's like, okay, there's the Me Without You page. Here we got Coheed and Cambria going into Mute Math. Oh, Deftones, Blindside. Here's the Amberlynn page. So we're starting to get into my emo section because we got Jimmy, Death Cab.
All right. Well, since you said emo, this is Taking Back Sunday, Where You Want to Be. One of my friends gave me this CD, and it changed my life. Like I was like listening to Mudvayne, and I was a little goth kid, and then somebody gave me this, and I was like, this is the way. Like never look back, man. I was like, this is the kind of music that I want to make. Taking Back Sunday.
A lot of these were like when we talked about shows that other stream. I was saying how it was kind of a culture for me where we would just go to shows at the State Theater and Orpheum or whatever every weekend. Even if we didn't really know the bands, because you just went to hang out with friends. So a lot of these CDs, like this right here, Anna Divine, or In Passing here, were bands that I just bought their CD because I went to see Emery or May headline, and these bands opened, and I was like, oh, these guys are really good. I'm going to buy their album. Copeland.
This is also
Mars Volta.
This is from my dad. See, my dad is obviously much older than me, but this is their demos. We have demos on CDs. They had demos on cassettes. This is his old band, a demo. Cherish that forever. I got some good stuff.
I would say this is mostly mainstream stuff. Oh, Seosin.
Look, my Toy Story cassette. I talked about this last time, didn't I?
The Juliana Theory.
I was like, oh, my dad got me like, my parents would get me like soundtracks when I was a kid, and that's how I decide, because I was really into movie soundtracks. We remember when we were talking about movie soundtracks? I still have this, you guys. I still have my Toy Story cassette.
Oh, here's a bunch of
that's
burn
crazy.
CDs just sitting in the back of it.
All right, go through some of those babies.
It was just kind of stuck in here.
Look. Here's what that Memorex thing looks like. So I hand did this Blondes Not Bombs EP stuff. MySpace.com/blondesnotbombs. And yeah, this is great. Maybe this could be a good Kickstarter prize. It'll wreck your CD player up because that piece of paper is going to get stuck in it. It's like a sticker. And I definitely had somebody be like, hey, my CD player ate your CD because that sticker fell off. But
That's how we did the Danger Flight records.
With this stuff, the paper Memorex thing.
Yeah.
I literally hand wrote Blondes Not Bombs. We were too cool for school. See, this is the kind of artwork that I want on our next record, but I want it to be like scanned and like a real record. Look at that. How cool is that? I still have all of these.
Nice artwork.
Thanks.
Okay, so all of these burn CDs, I mentioned my metal phase, and you're like, what? Steve, metal phase?
Yeah.
You didn't believe me, but here's every one of these burn CDs. 18 Visions, Evergreen Terrace, Cave In, The Red Chord, Poison the Well, Dead Poetic, From Autumn to Ashes. This runs through. That was Spencer from Under Oath's first band before he joined Under Oath. Like all these metal bands from like 2004, 2005. That's what's all those burn CDs are. And that's pretty much what this little booklet that I have, the smaller one, it's all like Dillinger Escape Plan, The Chariot, Norma Jean, Between the Buried and Me.
I just found another
the
random blank CD.
Reliant K.
Another random blank DVD. One of these I think is my like senior vocal recital. Oh no! pleasure working with you guys. Enjoy, Alistair Ann. This is our first photo shoot as a band with Bertha. Remember Alistair?
Yeah.
Dude.
That's with the car.
With Bertha, yeah.
Bertha, yeah.
So there might be some gems on there from 10 years ago that need to be unearthed for
patrons.
For the Kickstarter for the 10-year anniversary.
Some 41 in Good Charlotte, because I was super punk.
I have so much. Oh, look at this. This is the shit. This is the real Blondes Not Bombs. So this is when I got wise to disc makers. This is before like Photoshop is before everyone could get Photoshop, right? This one just says demo. Demo. Cool.
Demo of who and what?
I don't know. Probably me. Here's one. This is, oh my God. Oh, this is what I used to use. Cakewalk Home Studio. Remember Cakewalk? This is what I used to use. I was like, what the hell? Cakewalk Home Studio 2004. I think Cakewalk became Adobe Audacity, or it became, oh my God. Well, this was like 2004. God, I'm aging myself really badly right now. But that was what I used. I'm like, what software did I use? Cakewalk. That was probably like a $20 program that I got at Best Buy.
Well, I basically ran through my stuff. If you have anything more you want to share, I'm sure it's not quite as thrilling for the podcasters as it is for the streamers.
So, well, yeah, we can talk about something else. Sorry. I'm having a blast because I'm caught up 4/20/06. And I made a song called Caught Up. See, some of these also could be classical songs from college because like I would record stuff. Freeform number 1. I was an electronic music major, and so everything that we did, there's a hard copy of it somewhere. There's sheet music, or there's a CD, or a DAT, or something. That was the gig, so I really wish that I had gone through some of the mixed CDs that I found to be like,
so
this
you
is
could
what's,
just like listen to it.
I could tell you guys what's on it.
It would be nice to know, because otherwise it's just a silver disc.
Well, I mean, I don't even know if I have a CD player anymore. Now here's a blank white disc.
I mean, your car's got a CD player, right?
Here's a, oh, my car does have a CD player. That'll be an interesting drive. Oh, man. All right, what's next on the agenda? Do you want to move on to the questions while I like dig through my shit?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do the questions from our patrons, and we can just wrap it up here.
I just found our copy of I just found my few copies of Survival Guide. These are rare, folks. I don't even know if I'm legally allowed to have this.
Why not?
New releases from Standby Records.
We own them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we got all our rights to that demo back.
Oh, yeah.
We paid cold hard cash. Okay. Yeah, let's I'm going to read these Patreon submitted questions, and this can kind of be our wrap up to the episode. And so to start out, Matthew Cato on Patreon had a good question asking about throwback CD collections, but that's basically what we were doing already, and we kind of talked about that last week. But I thought the end of his question was kind of three-parter, and I thought the end was kind of interesting. He says, what music did you used to love but hate now, or vice versa? Like you didn't like it as a kid, but now you love it. So like, are there any like genres or certain bands that maybe you didn't have an appreciation? I guess hate's not the word, but you didn't really appreciate it before, but now you do, or maybe you're super into it when you were younger and now you're just kind of like, what was I thinking?
I mean, I definitely was one of those people. I not so much from childhood, but like when I was like growing up, um, when I was, like in college, I was definitely one of those people who anything mainstream I like hated. I did not like Lady Gaga. I did not like Kesha. I did not like Glee. Like all of that. I was so like, I thought I was a badass and I was like, I hate everything. And looking back, I'm like, I was so negative for no reason. I love Lady Gaga. I love Kesha. I live for them. Like, I live for Kesha. I love her so much. So I don't know why when they first came out, I think I was just like too punk rock for that. And I was, back when
Right.
I feel like it was more socially unacceptable to have just to go out and be like, you know what, fuck it, I like this shit. I think a lot of people get in your head and are like, well, if you're into like this kind of music, you can't be into this kind of music. And it's really not
Very
like that.
clicky.
It's really not like that anymore, which is, I think, a testament to the internet and the generation and Gen Z. Like, everyone's like, man, you like what you like. No big deal. Like, no one cares. And it wasn't like, I just don't think I ever opened myself up to even like Kesha or anybody because I instantaneously was like, this is garbage. You know,
Right.
I never even gave it the time of day. And obviously, like, I listened to like even like TikTok, her big song now, and I'm just like, this is a fucking there's room in the universe for all kinds of music. So goofy, fun, ridiculous lyrics, stupid, you know what I mean? There's room for it, and I love
I
it.
think I think why we were like that when we were younger, and I think kids are like that today too. We just don't know it because we're adults and we don't hang out with high schoolers. But I think the reason we get that way is when you're that age in high school and you're trying to figure out who you are, it's very important to have an identity. And so if you're going to be the skater kid or the goth kid, or
Yeah.
you're going to be a jock, or you're going to be whatever, you kind of pigeonhole yourself into that. And you're like, so what does being the skater kid mean? And whatever that means, you have to, everything about your life has to fall in that identity: the way you dress, the way you carry yourself, the music you listen to.
And it's like,
And I think you kind of, yeah, you sort of shortchange yourself because you're like, this is my identity. I can't be anything else.
well, I just want to chime in. I don't want to interrupt your point, but I think it's a lot to do with your peers too. One person you hang out with could be like, man, Kesha fucking sucks. And you could be like, yeah, fuck, and you don't even think about it. Right? Like, I think it's a lot of peer pressure to like be a certain way around certain people. And like, if you have that one negative person who's constantly always saying, oh,
Right.
this person
Or you just want to
sucks.
fit in. And if that group
Yeah.
doesn't like Kesha, but you want to be a part of that group, then
Yeah.
even if you liked them, you're not going to admit to it. But I think that's just part of being young. And I think it probably still exists that way. But then as you get older, you realize that my identity isn't what I listen to or watch or how I dress. My identity is how I carry myself as a person and the impact that I leave and my career and family and other things. So it's more acceptable amongst us at our age to like all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Um,
It comes with
so
age
yeah,
and maturity, I think. When you're like young and impressionable and like you really care what other people think about you, you don't want to like the wrong thing. You don't want to be judged. You don't want to have your core group of friends being like, you like this? You like that? Like, that's stupid. Like, you're not allowed to like that because that's pop or that's whatever. Like, I was very like in, especially music school types, right? They're kind of like
right.
snobby about music and sonics and things like that and
Uh,
audio.
yeah, and I think it's hilarious what I didn't like then because it's some of my favorite stuff now. So when I was in high school, I was very anti like 80s and 80s synth pop and anything like, because I was listening to a lot of punk, I was listening to a lot of metal, and so I was just like, it needs to be just guitars and analog and heavy. If you're putting programming and synths and stuff into it, it's not real music. It's all fake because you're using
Yeah.
this and that. And so I was very anti that, which is hilarious because I probably listen to more pop in 80s and highly produced stuff now than anything else. Like, honestly, now a lot of the stuff I liked is hard to listen to because it's not very produced. I want to hear that polish. But the other thing that I think is hilarious and very ironic is during my younger years, I did not like female fronted rock bands. I thought, to me, I was like, women have
the
these
truth comes out.
sweet, yeah, I was like, women have these sweet, beautiful voices. Rock is meant to be gritty and grungy, and it doesn't mesh. Like, it's not, the female voice isn't like heavy enough or whatever ignorant thing I thought at the time. And so I didn't want to listen to any bands like, Paramore or Pat Benatar or any of that stuff. I would just like, this is lame, skip. And then what? Now I'm in a female fronted rock band, and probably the majority of stuff that I listen to has a female vocalist in it. So, oh, to be young and naive. But then his question kind of talks about the reverse of it now. Is there stuff that we used to listen to back then that we thought was awesome and now we're not necessarily into? And I do have that. Like, when I was in high school, like I said, I was in a big metal phase. Like, I really loved grindy hardcore bands with screaming and stuff. And
yeah,
I think at this point in my life, it's not that I don't think those bands are good or have a place or aren't talented or anything. It's not something that I'm into anymore. I kind of grew out of like the screaming, and it's like I want to hear a melody. I want to be able to know what the lyrics are saying. It's just not something that every once in a while I'll listen to it for nostalgic purposes and I can jam out, but it's not my go-to. And then there's that stuff that's just kind of like ironically funny. Like we mentioned last week, Who Let the Dogs Out? Like that's not a song that now I'm like, oh, that song is great. But like as a kid, when that song came on, I'd get hyped. Like, do all the dances and Macarena and stuff, you get into it. But now it's just like, these songs are goofy. I would never put that in my car to like seriously listen to.
Yeah, of course. Stuff like that, I don't think it really stands the test of time. Like, even for nostalgia factor. So what will turn on in the car sometimes is gonna be like early 2000s pop, TLC, Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, or like R&B. But then all of a sudden, or like girl groups, like, I don't know, Jordan always loves putting on like Bewitched. He's like, remember that song C'est La Vie? And like we'll bop to it or whatever. But there's like the other side of that, where there was a lot of music from that era that just did not stand the test of time, like production wise and everything. You're just like, this is corny. And I don't know. Yeah, a lot of my own music. I'll listen to stuff that I wrote like years and years ago, and I'll be like, not Nearly Dead stuff, but like pre Nearly Dead. I'll be like, what was I, before you get that outsider edge, I don't know. I listen to myself sometimes and just cringe. And it's because I write the lyrics, and the lyrics, I'm just like, oh God, these are bad. This is corny. This is lame. What was I thinking? I know so much better now. So sometimes I listen to music that I wrote back then and I'm just like, what was I freaking thinking?
Well, I mean, too, it's like you're more mature now, and like you said, I think it's very different with lyrics and vocals. Like, yeah, there's a maturity in my songwriting instrumentally compared to back then, but if I listen to stuff from back then, I maybe don't cringe as hard. It's just like, oh, it's clearly not as produced. The production doesn't sound as good, or it's a little all over the place. It's not as well written or whatever, but it is what it is. It's instrumentals. But I could see with like lyrics, I'm sure writing something when you're 16, your
Yeah.
problems as a 16-year-old, it's like,
Yeah.
nah, I had to do homework and I got a B, and
I
you
was
know,
too
I'm sure that it
overly
wasn't you. I'm just saying,
I
like,
was like overly soapy. I was like into Amanda Palmer and Fiona Apple and just dream like I was overly artistic in a way, like trying too hard kind of a way, like to be
the
I
black rose wilts
some
in
shit,
a
yeah, shit like that, right?
forest.
I do just want to go to the comments really quick because White Wolf's Bushcraft, they might not be watching anymore, but just good night. They said there's some wildfires out in Arizona, so hopefully you're staying safe out
Oh,
there.
jeez.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up because I was not aware of that. And then Doolin said he used to listen to ICP, Twisted, and Tupac, and I've changed so much since then. And the range, you know what I used to love that I think I cringe now is Mushroom Head. I went to see them live like on multiple occasions in Florida and was like, Mushroom Head is like the fucking best band ever. And a lot of people still love them and I don't want to knock them and they're great, but they have like a different lead singer than I think they used to. I don't even know. They've had a lot of changes, but Jordan puts it on and I'm just like, yeah, it's so bad. Actually, the day before our wedding, I was like, I pulled up my phone and I pulled up One More Day by Mushroom Head and I was like, one more day. One more day to regret. It's yeah. That's a band that I don't like anymore, I guess.
Right.
That's a band that I thought was like so cool. I was
And
into
Doug's
a
over
lot of
here.
metal back then. I don't even think that qualifies though. Like Cradle of Filth. I just used to go to those shows because like the dude I was dating used to go to all those shows, and I was trying to fit in and try to impress him and try to be like, oh, I'm into this and I'm this person. And after then I was like, I don't like any of this. I don't even like any of this. I'm a huge poser.
Right.
I definitely
Doug's
appreciated it.
pointing out that he has always been elevated and always liked female fronted rock bands. So I think he's trying to say he's better than me. I don't know. But or at least more sophisticated. Pat Benatar, Joan Jett, Hart, Dora. Speaking of female fronted, the other day I saw a commercial and it was not Blondie. It was what's it? Girls just want to have fun.
Cyndi Lauper.
It was Cyndi Lauper. I was like, I saw this commercial and this edgy older woman's on there and she's still rocking like this bomb ass haircut and just dressed to the nines in her like whimsical way. And I was just like, is that Cyndi Lauper? And so I had to Google it. I was like, something commercial, and it said Cyndi Lauper, and I was like, she still looks badass. But the sad thing is I'm pretty sure it was a commercial for like
psoriasis or something,
erectile dysfunction or something like that. Something like old people get.
No, it's like psoriasis. I've seen the commercials.
Yeah, but she rocks. I like Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah. Blondie just did like a thing at the Tribeca Film Fest. There's like a documentary that they're kind of taking around. So that's interesting. I mean, definitely like pioneers in what we do. I love Blondie and Garbage.
It's got some good riffs, some heavy bass stuff in there. I like it. And she's definitely got a message.
I just like how they're a band full of producers, so they really lay it on thick. The electronics, the production, like they just have fun with it and they make something out of not very much. Like
right.
There's so much that you can do. You have your audio, you have your core song, but when you really start cutting it up, reversing things, layering things, what can we do here, what can we do there? I just love that. I love that style of production.
It definitely helps to have one of the greatest producers of all time be your drummer.
Well, because that's where you really experiment is in the studio. Like sometimes you can take the vocals and like do all kinds of crazy stuff with them and all kinds of layering, and it's stuff that you don't really think about until you listen to it over and over and over again, and then start changing things up and cutting them up. And I just appreciate that a lot. I love their style. I love Garbage and I love Shirley Manson. They're a huge influence. I think after listening to their new album, I was like, we got to put some electronic shit into the record, like for sure.
I'm all about
To
it.
be
And
more experimental
I
and
know
just push
Brian's
it.
gonna be about it.
Just push it a little bit, man.
I've got a couple songs, newer songs that I was writing that I wrote on bass first because I'm like, I got the core structure, but I wanted like a cool, grungy kind of bass run line in the verses, and then the guitar kind of to fill in the upper register just kind of on top of it. But yeah, normally it's like I would write everything rhythm guitar first and then everything else around it. And I was like, nah, this one I want to write these songs around the bass line. And I think one of them sounds very garbage, but
cool.
But anyways, I think we got time for one more, the last question, which comes from Craig Baruki on Patreon, and he says, "What's your go-to drink or drinks?" I guess it doesn't have to be alcohol, but his example, he said his used to be a 2 to 4 Jack and Cokes a day, more so to deal with body aches and pangs. He said after having cancer treatments, the doctors told him that he should cut back on that with his meds, which makes sense. I would agree with your doctors there. So he doesn't really have the urge to drink alcohol anymore, but that was something he enjoyed, was a Jack and Coke back in the day. So I don't know. Give us your go-to drinks. So give us your non-alcoholic, like your day-to-day, something you crave, and then your going out cocktail.
I just want to say, Craig, that we're glad that you're feeling better and hopefully everything is going well for you. Thank you for sharing your story and your journey with us. And hopefully the cancer treatments have been going well for you.
Yeah, and hopefully you can have a Jack and Coke again someday.
Yeah. If you so incline. Some people choose not to drink, and that's fine too. I really like, I'm a huge water drinker. It's going to sound so lame. Decaf iced coffee every single morning, or regular coffee. Decaf black coffee. So lame. I'm an old lady. I can't even handle caffeine. So I like seltzers. I'm like one of those people. But we have this brand up here in New England called Polar Seltzer, and I can't drink anything else because like certain kind of seltzers give me a headache or they make me feel weird, so I don't really like them. So Polar, though, is the only brand that I can drink that's not. So it's fun if you're trying to cut back on drinking. You pop a little seltzer, kind of feels like you're, have a little fun drink. So I guess Polar Seltzer. And as far as, alcohol, I really love champagne and I really love rosé. So I'm fans of those, although I can't really drink them.
About headaches, those are the ones that will give me a headache instantly.
Oh yeah, I feel like shit every time. Well, the older I get, I feel like shit every time I drink now, to be honest with you. So it's like, can't party like we used to. I mean, like, literally. Oh, Craig says, everything is great. Saturday will be my 1-year anniversary cancer-free. Hallelujah. Amen.
Yeah, congratulations.
That's absolutely exciting. Congrats.
Been quiet in the chat there, Craig. Just hanging out.
Doolin said he used to drink Mad Dog 2020, dude. What were you doing? Clearly.
He's basically
rough choice.
He chases it with a Four Loko or something.
Rough choice. And he drinks Fiji every day. You fancy son of a bitch. Fiji every day. I have one of those Brita things that's like giant because I don't trust my own sink water.
Well, you think he's fancy. I used to have a Brita, but I bought one of those water filters for my house. So now the water in my entire house is filtered, so I can drink straight from the sink. I could drink from the toilet if I wanted to. My shower water is filtered. It's all filtered.
By a show of likes, who wants to see Steve drink his own toilet water?
Next episode, I'll go bring the camera. I'll dip a cup in there. And
I feel, you know what I used to drink a shitload of? Jägermeister. That was like, if I was at the bar, I would shot a Jaeger, shot a Jaeger. Now it's like Fireball. If I'm taking a shot, it's like Fireball. Like, I don't know. And
I
it
can't
makes,
even do that. Remember when Fireball came out, we were in Nashville, and I remember the promo girls coming to Cabana, and we tried it, and we're like, this stuff is good. And we used to do, at the holidays, we'd make, those
yeah,
holiday drinks with
Fireball and
like
everything.
Fireball and apple
And
cider
then
and stuff, and we
didn't
do it
they
on the
find out
stove.
that it was like toxic or some shit and like ban it in a bunch of countries, but Americans are still like, fuck it.
Uh,
Didn't some shit
yeah, I don't know
happen?
if it was ever banned, but I just quit. I can't drink any of that stuff that has all that sugar in it. It's just too much sugar, and I would say my day to day, I'm pretty boring like you. I pretty much just drink water all day, or coffee, um, and then I have the seltzers. My seltzer of choice is the Aha. I think
Ah,
I think they have the best like flavors. Like I have one that's
bubbly
like
is
a
nice too.
it's like yeah, I used to drink bubbly, but I think that's one of the ones that gives me a headache. So I
Mm.
switched over to Aha, and it's normally I get this like blueberry pomegranate, but right now I've got this mango and black tea flavor. But I'll say if I want to get fancy, non-alcoholic drink, my favorite just indulgent beverage is Thai tea. Thai tea just
Nice.
is so good, but it's sweet. It's that like black tea. It's got that kind of Thai spice chai thing, but then when they put the coconut milk in it or whatever, it makes it really sweet, and it's super good.
It's so good.
But I guess my alcohol drink. I mean, if I'm not just having beer or something, uh, I would say recently I've just been a tequila person because it just something about I don't know if it's just being older. I love whiskey. I'm a big fan, but it just any dark liquor that has
Gives me
sugar in it,
heartburn.
it gives me headaches. Gives me
Headaches and
headaches.
heartburn.
Yeah.
We're so lame.
So I go for the clear liquors, and I just enjoy tequila. It just tastes good to me. It gives me a chill buzz, and I don't have a hangover ever.
And you can't beat like fall, fall beers by the fire. Like those darker beers start coming back in season. Like I like that kind of stuff cuz I feel like it's a little bit easier to maybe have a beer or two at night instead of drinking like liquor cuz then I feel really sick in the morning. Or like even wine. Like rosé like got me through the pandemic and I felt like shit the whole time and as soon as it was over I was like this has got to stop. This has got to stop. And it was like,
Yeah, I mean, I love a good. I like any kind of beer, like dark beer, really. Anyways, the Tailgate Brewery out here in Nashville's
oh
got
yeah, they
some
had that peanut
fantastic.
butter thing.
That peanut butter
Yeah,
stout is really good. They
you
had
gotta
a
have
couple
that.
others. They got
Yeah.
the nitro. They got nitro beers, but they did a nitro version of the peanut butter milk stout, which is great. But actually, they recently did a summer beer uh, called the it's the Tailgate. What is it? It's lime
Like a
something,
Radler.
but it basically tastes like I think it's just called the lime lager, and it it's like Bud Light lime, but tastes good and not like lime flavored pee. It's like it almost tastes like a Mexican lager. It almost like a Corona with lime, but it's already the limes in it. You don't have to like squeeze the lime. It's just super refreshing. And so when I've gone out with Mo and or people out on the lake, it's just the perfect just like chill sip on the tailgate lime longer while you're hanging out on the pontoon boat.
That's a good one. Craig says we're showing our age by drinking flavored seltzer water. It will be fun seeing TND tour and bringing your seltzers on stage.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe they'll sponsor us, and
Yeah.
we can have a big backdrop, a big polar
Well, see,
backdrop.
I can't like drink Monster or any of that energy drink. A lot of bands are sponsored by it. I cannot. I used to do it a lot, but I realize I've talked to, I've mentioned it before on streams. Like I've slept better, like less anxiety, like less jittery, like, and it's not that big of a deal to kind of wean yourself off caffeine. I think it improves a lot of aspects of your life. Probably
Josh.
quitting drinking probably would too, but baby steps. I like to say I could cut down on the drinking.
Josh isn't here to defend himself, but he was a monster fiend or an energy drink fiend when we were on tour.
Yeah.
He'd like pound those things.
And they're full of sugar. They're so horrible for you.
Yeah. I say that as I'm drinking the like coffee Coke. But I mean, these are low in sugar.
Alrighty. Yeah, well, the stream's starting to lag a little bit, and it's time for us to wrap it up anyway. So.
Yep. So I think that's it for the anniversary spectacular.
Oh yeah, I don't even know where the CD went. Happy 7 years of Invisible tonight. Thank you guys all so much for joining us every week for our live stream, and we tape our podcast. Thank you for listening to the podcast. You can get it anywhere that podcasts are sold or streamed. Definitely thank you to our patron supporters. You guys rock. You help us continue to do everything that we do. Can't wait for what's coming up. October, we got 10 years of Never Look Back coming up, and we're going to be launching a Kickstarter and working on a new album to celebrate all of that. So it's just going to be one big old year of celebrating, and then 2020 true is going to be the year that we come through. So yeah, thank you guys for being a part of it. We love you guys. And we will talk to you next week. Actually, no, we're not doing one next week, right?
Right. We're off.
We're off next week, but we'll see you in 2 weeks. So we'll see you in August, guys. Bye.
Yeah, I'll probably still post something. But yeah.
Bye.